My name is W. Tucker. I'm living in Austin, Texas with my wife, Sylvia. I have a little studio in the back of our house. And I've been working with Conduit for, I think, 16 years. We've been in Austin 10 years, and I was living in LA before that and working with Nancy and Danette before we moved. So, yeah.
And I'm Hyde Fontenot. I'm another one of the artists in the Conduit stable. We say that? I imagine that people that would click on this video have some sense of you and your work already, but in case they don't, can you sort of sum up what you're doing and the content of your work in some way?
Yeah. It's mixed media work. I work in a lot of found materials, old book covers, wood that I put together. I've started over time working on casting cement and working on that. Old album covers. So that's the beginning that's where the work starts, and then I embellish or add to. Some pieces have some of the old things that I work on have a little more given already. And I've been, kind of to cut to the chase, I've been working with my left hand, my non-dominant hand, for probably since early 90s. And so I continue to do that. And really specifically, I realized early on that my more thought out right-handed work I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't feel it was as honest as the work I was doing with my left hand. So I just kept nurturing that voice and continued that. And the characters that come out are very childlike. It's actually funny because I thought about when you threw this out to me doing this conversation. The one interesting connection I thought about you and me is that, and I guess a lot of artists do this, or all artists do this to one degree or another, but the thing we're both shooting for is to cut to the chase and is to put the tricks aside and see how deep we can get into whatever it is we're doing, whatever it is we're trying to say, or if we don't know what we're saying, just digging into that kind of not knowing. And I think your work, there's a lot of not only you exploring yourself, but you trying to explore the world around you. And I've heard you talk about how you grew up. It's Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
Southwest.
Yeah, right, near the Gulf.
Right. So just how you grew up in that culture and who you were as a person and how that fit or didn't fit, and then what you did with that. And from that, I sort of have a question for you, which is, do you think that is the bottom or the ground that you stand on to start from with your work, to you, is that connected to that aspect of yourself and who you are, how you started, and I know you've talked about being an outsider in a sense. So is that the beginning of everything to you, do you think?
Wow. Yeah, no, it's beautiful insight into the way that I work and my personality maybe, but I like the statement that you made, and I don't know if I want to like mess it up by responding to it, but yeah, I think this is so funny. I was like our early childhood trauma, if you will. And sometimes that's just like getting your feelings hurt, or like not being heard by a parent, or feeling underappreciated, or you know, forced into a mold that's not you. It feels tiresome to me when like you keep going back to that same well. It's like, you know, like get over it. I'm 56 years old, you know, like, but yeah, I mean, I think that I formed an identity around not fitting in and being kind of an oddball, but also like recognizing I'm not wrong about this. I'm
Mhm.
not fitting in, but I'm not wrong. And yeah, I don't know, Tucker, how to. I mean, I guess I did respond to that in a way. I was going to ask you. It's funny. I wonder if we're just going to keep asking each other impossible questions. Not impossible questions, but I've visited your studio and I've seen how you work, and I really appreciate this using your non-dominant hand as a way to get to something more honest and to like do away with the flash or the, you know, and that's something that I've struggled with before too, is like you acquiring skills and understanding how to sort of like manipulate someone's emotional response to something through your skill, and seeing if that's really who you are, or if that's really what you want to say, or if you're being charming, you know. um
Well, you know, it's funny. I was just writing this to someone the other day that I remember a piece I did a long time ago, probably 20 some years ago. And it was a pieces of wood that I'd put together. And so, yes, I was working with my left hand, excuse me. And as I was doing it, I was starting to make this figure, and it felt really safe to me. And I stopped in the middle of it. And the phrase that came through my head was, all tricks aside. And I was like, I had to pause and kind of go, what is that about? And it just, this whole story came out about just, you know, you can do this. You know, you can make this shape. You know, you can make this head. You know, you can do this form, and it works. So you have a choice now. Do you do that or you do not do it? And more often than not now, and even then, I decided to keep letting go of the tricks that I thought are realized over time, is probably a better way to put it, realized over time um, I could do, but only supported me not creating the same work over and over again, but not far from it. And I know if you look at my work from a long time ago, it was much more layered, and it's gotten, there's there's more and more and more space in it. And to me, that's just breathing room. It's breathing room for me, and it's breathing room for the viewer. But that was I was saying, whoever I was writing it to, I said, this is a mantra now that I have, that when I start to do it again, I stop. And it actually, that became the title of that piece, all tricks aside. And so it's been a nice little, what do you say, touchstone, just to kind of keep going back to and go, you can make that mark, it's fine, but just know what you're doing. And if you'd like to kind of wake something else up, then maybe move to the next
yeah.
stage, level, whatever it happens to be. So that's just been a nice reminder. I also have another one, which I feel has really been great for me, which came really early, even before I started showing my work, which was no fear, which I feel you have in spades, sort of just to jump off the high dive and go, this is my truth, and I don't give a, you know, whatever. what people think about it. And it's not saying you don't care about how people are touched by your work. It's just, it's going back to trying to be true to that authentic voice that you have. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was getting is like when you're talking about paring the work down and with the attempt to be as honest as you can about what you're saying or what is needed instead of it almost reminds me of like being in a therapy session, and if you are there to like really deal with your shit
mhm,
or if you're gonna make jokes to the therapist and try to like win them over in a way. And
right,
I feel
right,
like
right.
a more discerning uh art audience will be conscientious of that too. When I think
Yeah,
about like blockbuster art events and how like you can be so seduced by some shows in the same way that it's almost like a car show. It's like, well, look at these beautiful shiny things, and they're appealing to like a consumerist impulse.
mhm.
I guess that's one approach, but I sometimes that comes down to budget, I think, and not that we'd all attempt that work if we had access to those resources. Um, but when all is said and done, like I would rather sit with a piece from you than Jeff Koons, you know, regardless of the market value. It's like that's a funny thing that comes down to this kind of
Right.
Armageddon situation that we find ourselves in. It's like where like value might be thrown out the window, and like what the things that we valued before might not, like, can you eat a Jeff Koons? Oh, if you just have to sit with it, then like it's almost like the Midas touch, or I'm throwing a lot of metaphors all in the soup. I tend to do that, but yeah, if you were sort of forced to sit with your things an Egyptian pharaoh buried with all of his most uh, valuable possessions, and your art collection was not what you're going to trade in later for other things, but the things that you actually go into eternity with. Like,
Yeah.
woo, yeah,
No, I think that there's obviously all different levels to this art game, right?
yeah, of course,
From the coffee house to Gagosian Gallery, and everything in between. But I mean, Sylvia and I have a small collection of artwork, and we have some really wonderful work, and it's stuff we want to live with,
yeah,
and that's how we buy work. I don't know if I had the budget for this other type of stuff, whether we'd be buying that or not, but
yeah,
it's also interesting, and this is a whole nother onion, but I had someone ask me, a young artist, a bunch of years ago. He was kind of starting out and getting introduced to the gallery system and stuff, and he just felt like it was not a good system, and he didn't like it, and he wasn't going to go towards it. And I took a pause and I said, the truth is, that, what is that book movie, The Only Game in Town?
I don't
I
know it.
Anyway, I just said, taking from that, I just said it's a game in town, and that doesn't mean it's a bad game, and you can choose to play or not. And if you choose to play, there are rules. There are things that happen within that system. Um, there's a contract often that you signed, and hopefully both sides are really happy with that contract. But that's part of being involved in that arena. And I think that there are obviously pros and cons to the whole system. But the galleries that I've been involved with and still involved with are, I feel really lucky to be connected with them, and they're fantastic people. And I feel, hopefully I've done well by them, and I feel treated well, from their end of things. So
Yeah. All right, you take care, all right?
Okay,
it's great
hi.
to see you.
Love you. Good to talk
Love
to
you
you.
too.
Okay.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
Tucker. Bye, Sylvia.